Sagittarius, you've already hit the mark. Yes, before the arrow even lands. Before the evidence shows up, before anyone else sees the target you've been aiming for, you've already been chosen, cleared, and claimed by divine timing. And now, the only instruction from the universe is this: hold your aim. A massive financial miracle is quietly making its way to you. It's not late. It's not lost. It's just sacred. And sacred things arrive when the restless energy settles. You didn't come to this video by accident. Sagittarius doesn't just wander, you seek. You follow truth, patterns, and expansion. And something led you here today because your spirit knows what your logical mind may still be questioning. Something powerful is happening just beyond the horizon of your current reality. You can feel the shift in the wind. You can feel it in the way your typically restless soul has been unusually contemplative. This is the space between the vision and the manifestation. The quest is over, and now your only job is to remain grounded while the heavens finalize the transfer. You've been tested in ways no one else could understand. Behind the surface of your optimism was a sacred exhaustion, but you kept believing. You preached hope when you felt empty. You kept your eyes on the big picture when the details were falling apart. You loved freely even when you were fenced in. You prayed through the confusion, and you aimed your arrow again and again when even you didn't have the strength to pull the bowstring. Sagittarius, that was never unnoticed. Heaven saw it all. While the world calculated your worth based on your productivity or your constant movement, God was writing a verdict that could only be delivered in a moment of pause. You are worthy. You are chosen. It's time to receive. And the way you receive this isn't by chasing another adventure, it's by standing still with faith. Not a stagnant silence, but an intentional grounding where you stop running from the outcome and start welcoming the grace. This blessing won't come through hustle. It will come through alignment. Right now, your nervous system may not know what to do with this lack of movement. You've been so wired for the journey, so ready to pack your bags and flee from disappointment, that staying put feels unfamiliar. But you're not stuck anymore. You're being anchored. This stillness you feel isn't a trap. It's recalibration. It's the hand of God expanding your capacity to hold what was promised, healing the burnout from the constant search, and preparing you to carry a greater weight of glory than ever before. If you're suddenly needing more sleep, feeling a lack of desire to socialize, or feeling emotionally heavy in peaceful moments, you aren't losing your spark. You're being upgraded. Your spiritual system is learning how to carry wealth, not just dream about it. You're learning to sit like royalty, no longer begging, proving, or searching, because what's coming next requires you to be rooted, not flighty. So, if we're here right now, I ask you not to dismiss the intuition that brought you. This message didn't find you randomly. It's the confirmation your spirit has been seeking. I invite you to stay with me until the end of this message. Because what we're about to unlock together is not just about money. It's about freedom, identity restoration, and above all, a return to divine timing after years of detours. Take a deep breath. Sagittarius, you're safe now. The accounts are being settled. The ledgers are being corrected, and the freedom that was restricted is coming back to you, multiplied and sanctified. If you feel the truth of this message somewhere inside you, even just a flicker of your famous fire comment below right now and simply say, "I'm ready to receive." Let that be your first act of grounding, because in the unseen, a miracle has already begun. And trust me, you'll want to be here until the very end. What the universe is about to reveal is magnificent. What we're entering now is not just a moment of personal growth, it's a cosmic correction. Sagittarius, everything in your life has been leading to this precise energetic inflection point. The wandering, the philosophical questions, the seasons of feeling misunderstood. They were never random. They were part of a divine sequence orchestrated not to break your spirit, but to fortify a wisdom that could not be built any other way. Your inner knowing, in the language of the stars, Sagittarius, governs truth and expansion. This is intense growth that doesn't simply change where you are, but changes who you are. And this season is your evidence that the journey has been witnessed, completed, and now exalted. This phase, the declaration of spiritual vindication, is not just about being proven right, it's about finally being understood. It's about the unseen realm validating what your soul has always known, that your vision was never wrong, only early, never foolish, only faithful. And while the world measured you by your chaotic moments or your blunt honesty, heaven was watching the condition of your heart, especially when it was breaking, but still generous. You see, Sagittarius, this is not luck by human terms. It's not a gamble. It's a harvest. It's the kind of restoration that only divine timing can deliver. When Scripture whispers that faith is the substance of things hoped for, it's not a poetic metaphor. It's energetic truth. What breaks you open aligns you. What humbles you prepares you. And what the world calls a lost years or a detour, heaven calls a pilgrimage. All the things that seemed to be setbacks were actually delays rooted in protection. While others rose by playing small or sticking to the safe path, their gains came without the wisdom you now possess. The ledgers have been opened now, not out of punishment, but because balance is law. An energetic law always returns to wholeness. You're not being rewarded simply for what you did. You're being restored for who you continued to be, despite the restrictions, despite the judgment, despite the feeling of being caged. There's a sacredness in being the one who kept looking up at the stars even when you were in the gutter, the one who shared wisdom when you were still learning, the one who forgave because you understood the bigger picture. These are not just personality traits. They are spiritual testimonies. And in this moment, they're being presented as evidence in the courtroom of heaven on your behalf. This is why the universe is moving quietly behind the scenes, not with a bang, but with precision. The restoration is too large to announce in advance. It must arrive in silence so that it can land in the soil of your soul without being intercepted by distraction, impulsiveness, or the urge to run. That's why stillness is your spiritual posture. How stillness is not inactivity for a fire sign. It is focused intensity. It is the trust that says, I don't have to chase what is already magnetized to me. Even when no one else affirmed your dreams, when the breakthrough never came, your belief in your own divine trajectory was the frequency that kept you connected to this outcome. And now that outcome is no longer a philosophy, it's a decree. You're no longer being asked to strive. Sagittarius, you're being asked to stand, because this time the proof will arrive not as an adventure to find, but as a delivery to your doorstep, not as potential, but as provision. And yes, your name was whispered in heaven long before it was shouted on earth. Your optimism did not go unseen. Your faith was not in vain. You are not being blessed because you never stumbled. You are being blessed because you never stopped aiming for the light. So now, remain grounded. Stay open. Stand still. The sentence has been declared not guilty, fully restored and anointed to receive Sagittarius in the quiet aftermath of divine vindication. The next instruction may feel surprisingly difficult. Just stay still. And yet stillness is not simple at all. Is it for a sign ruled by fire and the expansive energy of Jupiter? Remaining still in the face of energetic momentum can feel like denying your very nature. But here's what I want you to understand. This is not a call to extinguish your fire. This is a sacred alignment where you stop burning yourself out and start tending the hearth. You're not being asked to do less. You're being invited to trust more. When the universe whispers, "Don't move," it isn't withholding the next adventure. It's making sure you are present for the treasure that is arriving. Stillness in this season is not passivity, it's mastery. It's the embodiment of a faith that no longer needs to roam the earth to find God. It's knowing that what is yours will not miss you, and what is divine does not require your hustle to arrive. You're not delaying your blessing by staying still. You're creating a landing strip for it, a clear, calm, open field where it can root, grow, and multiply without the interference of restlessness or the fear of missing out. The instruction to remain still lives on 3 levels: mental, emotional, and physical, and each one matters. Mentally, your mind has likely been your greatest tool, your philosophy center, your map maker, your teacher. But now it must become your sanctuary. This means silencing the inner debater, the constant planner, the seeker that's always looking for the next big thing. You may not realize it, but the energy of constantly planning the future sends a message to the universe that you don't fully believe the present moment is enough. So instead of scrambling for the next destination, affirm gently and repeatedly, I am chosen. I am here. I am ready to receive not as a question, but as a confirmation emotionally. Stillness means allowing yourself to feel without intellectualizing every emotion. You may find joy rising so high that you want to book a flight to nowhere, or anxiety fluttering in your chest because you feel trapped. Let them come. Let them pass. You are safe now. These feelings are echoes, not facts. They're remnants of the survival mode energy your nervous system is still releasing. You are detoxing the need to run, not receiving danger. Let peace become the new emotional rhythm. Don't over-philosophize. Don't preach to everyone about it yet. Contain your joy as if it were a sacred flame waiting to light the lantern at the right time. Physically, this is where stillness becomes most misunderstood. People think it means doing nothing, but in reality, it means doing only what anchors you. Don't quit your job on a spiritual high. Don't rush to make declarations about your new lifestyle. Don't burn bridges with those who didn't understand your vision. Keep your pace slow and steady. Cook, walk in nature, sleep, breathe. The ordinary becomes extraordinary when it is held in faith. The physical realm is watching to see how you hold yourself. When you no longer need to chase anything, and the more grounded you are, the more trustworthy you become as a container for miraculous provision. In the same way that an archer must be perfectly still before releasing the arrow, you are being asked to trust this pause as part of the process. It may look like nothing is happening, but everything is happening, just not in the visible realm yet. You are being calibrated for increase, not punished with boredom. And in this recalibration, the greatest gift you can offer is your stillness. A conscious, faith-filled, embodied stillness that whispers to the heavens, I'm ready. I won't run this time. I won't doubt this time. I'll be here open, quiet, present when the miracle arrives. Sagittarius, after you've been spiritually vindicated and asked to stand still, something deeper begins to happen. Not on the surface of your life, but in the wiring of your being. This is what many don't see or talk about, the invisible rewiring. The energy that once held you in seeker mode, constantly looking for the truth elsewhere, is slowly being unhooked. And a new energetic architecture is being installed in its place. You're not just preparing to receive abundance, you are becoming someone who is able to carry and hold that abundance with wisdom, temperance, and stability. That's not something that happens overnight. It's a process of spiritual, emotional, and physical recalibration. What you're experiencing right now, whether it's physical restlessness, random fatigue, an urge to purge your belongings, or tears you can't explain, are not signs of something wrong. They are indicators that your frequency is shifting. Think of it like this. Your internal software was coded through years of searching, feeling like an outsider, and needing to prove your freedom. Your nervous system learned to expect restrictions, to be vigilant for fences, and to work overtime just to feel free. and now abundance is trying to enter that system. But the old code doesn't know what to do with overflow. It tries to spend it, give it away, or run from the responsibility. That's why your body and emotions may feel like they're malfunctioning. They're not. They're being upgraded. From an energetic perspective, this recalibration begins in the auric field, the electromagnetic field around your body, which adjusts first before any physical changes occur. The body then responds. That's why grounding becomes essential. Simple actions like eating root vegetables, walking barefoot on the earth, and getting enough sleep are not luxuries in this season. They are spiritual disciplines. They support the body's ability to hold higher frequency states without burning out. If you feel pulled toward hiking, archery, meditation, or simply sitting under the sun, don't question that instinct. These actions are not just relaxing, they are anchoring. They are signals to your system that it is safe to expand without leaving your center. Food, too, plays a subtle but powerful role. In astrology, Sagittarius is governed by Jupiter. This energy deals with expansion, the liver, and vitality. The colors, royal purple, dark blue, and indigo, have long been associated with wisdom, abundance, and royalty. Eating foods rich in these colors, like blueberries, blackberries, purple cabbage, and utilizing expansive spices like turmeric and saffron not only supports your physical health, but also resonates with your energetic body in this transformative time. It's like feeding your spirit nutrients it hasn't received in a long time. As your frequency rises, you may also find that you no longer resonate with certain environments, shallow conversations, or even thought patterns that once felt comfortable. This is part of the realignment. You're being repositioned not just externally, but internally. And while this may feel like a loss of your social circle on the surface, it is in fact liberation. You are being released from identities and attachments that were rooted in the wandering phase. The patterns that kept you scattering your energy are being dissolved because they no longer match your upgraded, focused self. This is why stillness is so essential. You are not only attracting wealth, you are becoming wealth. And that transformation requires silence, gentleness, and self-rust, like an arrow resting on the string. You are not lazy or stagnant. You are gathering potential energy. Let the process happen. Let the download complete. This is the sacred moment before everything changes on the outside, and it begins with the quiet inside. The journey to abundance is not just geographical, it's deeply internal. By honoring your body, listening to its new needs and treating yourself with softness, you create the ideal environment for wealth to land and stay. You are no longer just surviving, Sagittarius. You're becoming the fertile soil for generational overflow. And this version of you, it doesn't chase blessings, it magnetizes them. Sagittarius, what's unfolding right now is not some sudden stroke of luck or an unexpected miracle falling from the sky. It's a precise, deliberate, cosmic recalibration, a universal balancing of the books. And in your case, the universe is not just offering you a glimpse of your future reward, but is also returning to you what was unjustly taken in the past. What may have once felt like a lost opportunity, a failed venture, or a truth that was silenced is now being revisited. Not with the energy of bitterness, but with the energy of rightful restoration. You are not being paid back out of pity. You are being restored out of principle. Every energetic transaction you've endured, every time your generosity was taken advantage of, every time your honesty was punished, every time you were labeled too much or unrealistic, has not been ignored. Energetically speaking, the universe operates on a system of balance, and Jupiter, your ruler, is the ultimate judge of cosmic law. When a debt is incurred against your spirit, even if it's not seen or acknowledged in the physical world, it is logged in the energetic field. This is what makes this part of your journey so powerful. You are no longer debating for closure or clarity. The energetic system that governs cause and effect is now stepping in to make things right. You don't need to confront those who doubted you. You don't need to explain to the world your philosophy. That season is over. What is owed to you is already being rerouted, not by force, but by frequency. One of the things we often misunderstand is how restoration actually works. It's not always handed back to you in the same form you lost it. Sometimes the freedom that was denied to you in a job is returned in the form of financial independence. Sometimes the belief that was crushed becomes the foundation of a new teaching. And sometimes the opportunity that was stolen is replaced by a divine assignment that expands your influence far beyond what you would have originally accepted. This is the wisdom of the universe at work. It doesn't simply return what was taken. It translates it into something better suited for who you've become. There's a beautiful truth that often gets lost in seasons of hardship. Just because someone else walked away with something that belonged to you doesn't mean it will prosper in their hands. When something is taken through manipulation or misunderstanding, it becomes a burden, not a blessing. And while you may have grieved its loss, you've also unknowingly created space for its purified return. That's what's happening now. You are being made whole again, but not in fragments, in fullness. And here's what makes this even more profound. You're receiving all this not because you fought for it, but because you finally released the need to be right. You stopped demanding to be heard and chose inner peace. You stopped trying to make others see your vision and decided to embody it for yourself. That shift in vibration, that quiet inner decision to choose alignment over argument, is what unlocked the flow. This isn't about proving anything. It's about reclaiming what's always been yours on a soul level. As someone who has walked through the wilderness of doubt, you understand what it means to be without direction. That's why what's returning to you now carries a different weight. You will hold it with reverence. You will use it with intention. And most importantly, you will never again confuse a pause with a full stop. Everything that is returning now is coming back multiplied, purified, and protected, because it no longer serves only you. It serves your higher calling, your legacy, and the next chapter you're about to write. And that Sagittarius is the justice your soul always knew was coming. Sagittarius. As the energy begins to shift and what once felt distant starts making its way into form, the signs become impossible to ignore. Not because they are loud, but because they are precise. These repeating numbers that flash on clocks or receipts, 11:55, 7777, 999, are not coincidences. They are subtle nudges, soft confirmations, reminders that something is already in motion. Just like tracking updates on a long, AA-ted delivery, these synchronicities serve as spiritual receipts that your order has not only been received, but is actively being prepared. The moment you begin to notice them, you are no longer waiting. You are already in alignment. When unexpected money appears, when someone from your past reaches out with an opportunity, or when you have vivid dreams of travel and expansion, you are witnessing previews of the life that's beginning to unfold around you. These are not signs that something might happen. They're confirmations that it already is. But as exciting as these signs can be, their purpose is not just to awaken joy or anticipation. They are also sacred invitations into deeper responsibility. The abundance that is coming to you isn't just for your comfort, it's for your mission. It's the fuel for your arrow. It's the resource your higher self requested in a prayer you may not even remember speaking aloud. And now it's arriving, not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it, because you became a safe container for overflow. In astrology, Sagittarius rules higher learning, philosophy, and benevolence. When wealth finds its way to you, it doesn't just come to elevate your lifestyle, it comes to amplify your voice. The universe is entrusting you with more, not as a reward, but as a commission, a calling to create new pathways, new schools of thought, and new freedoms in a world that is starving for truth and hope. Your blessing, then, is not an endpoint, it's a beginning. The beginning of what happens when resources meet readiness. You may feel unqualified, you may feel unprepared, but look again at everything you've survived. Every time you gave advice when you were lost. Every time you chose optimism over cynicism. Every time you stayed open in a closed-off world, you were becoming who you need to be to handle what's on its way. You weren't just surviving hardship, you were training for stewardship. When the resources arrive, and they will, you'll feel a deep knowing, a calm resolve that this is not luck. This is purpose. You may not want to broadcast it or spend it frivolously. You'll want to plan quietly, give generously, and move with intention. You want to build not just for yourself, but for those who were never shown the way. You want to become the map. And that's how you'll know this abundance came with an assignment attached. So when the signs show up, don't dismiss them as strange. Whisper back, I see it, I'm ready. When the money comes, no matter how small at first, bless it, respect it, treat it like the beginning of a legacy, not just the resolution of a bill. And when you feel the call to do more, to give more, to teach more, to explore more, know that you are not being stretched thin, you are being expanded. And Sagittarius, expansion is your element. You were never meant to just receive. You were meant to guide with what you've received. And now that time has come, Sagittarius, you've already won the moment you chose faith over fear, truth over illusion, and alignment over hustle. The gates of heaven began opening in silence. This is not about striving, it's about receiving. A massive financial miracle is moving quietly behind you. Not because you chased it, but because you aimed true, like a procession of divine light. Abundance is marching toward your life right now, and your only task is to stay still and stay open. What if the miracle isn't waiting for you to do more, but simply to believe more? Can you let go of control long enough to trust that the work has already been done in the spiritual realm? That the prayers, the philosophical questions, the tears you shed in solitude were never in vain? What if all heaven is watching to see how you will receive now that the heavens have released? So open your heart like a doorway to the sacred. Let your soul rest in the assurance that what's meant for you is not late, not lost, and not small. Don't try to earn it. Don't try to explain it. Just breathe. You're not a wanderer begging for a home. You are an heir of the light. You're not here to beg for blessings. You're here to steward miracles. Let yourself be worthy of wealth without guilt. Let yourself be trusted with increase without running away. And when it arrives, let your actions reflect the purpose behind the provision. Don't mistake this as luck. This is divine orchestration. This is the fulfillment of timing you couldn't control, but that your soul always sensed was coming. So I ask you, what will you build with the abundance that finds you? Who will you teach when you rise? How will you serve once your cup overflows? Remember, the universe never sends wealth without assignment. You are not the lottery winner. You are the chosen vessel. This is why it took so long. This is why the trials were so specific. Because you are not just being blessed, you are being entrusted. So, take a breath and anchor this moment. If you feel this truth stirring within, I invite you to comment below. I am ready. I am still. I am the heir of light. Let the algorithm reflect your alignment. Like this video to lock in the frequency of abundance and subscribe to Cosmic Treasure so you never miss a message meant solely for the evolution of your soul. Now, if it feels right, place your hand over your heart and whisper these words softly to yourself. Lord, I am ready to steward your blessings. Use me as a vessel of healing, provision, and truth for a world in need. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. And now, Sagittarius, your moment has come.